Justice League was released in 2017 and it was directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. And it tells the story of the Justice League consisting of Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Cyborg, and eventually Superman as they team up to stop Steppenwolf, an intergalactic being who comes to Earth to retrieve these mother boxes. Okay, so what do I think of Justice League, or what most people call it, Justice League? Okay, so remember how I bitched a lot about Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad? You ain't heard shit yet. This is the worst one so far. And trust me, it does get a little worse later on. When I review a certain movie, oh boy. Justice League, what can I say about it? Before I really rip this movie apart, I do want to give a couple of positives to this movie. There's a couple of fun action scenes, and some of the performances are fine. That's it. Those are my only two positives with this movie. This movie is absolute dog shit. Everything from the visual effects to the comedy to the pacing to the storytelling. Everything everything fails miserably. When it comes to the action, yes, there is a couple of fun-ish scenes of action, but for the most part, it comes off as very watered down. The absolutely abysmal visual effects don't do the movie any favors either. But also, despite a little bit of entertainment value, there's no thrills here. There's no excitement. No one really. Doesn't really feel like anyone's really in danger in this film. That's as much as I could say about the action in this movie, but also the visual effects. I'm serious. The visual effects in this movie are fucking god awful. There's tons of very obvious CGI. I mean, it is so obvious, especially when you watch it on a TV. Holy fuck. Like, there's the infamous Henry Cavill mustache scene where, like, it's very obvious that they edited his mustache out because he was working on Mission Impossible Fallout at the time. What else is there? Oh, the horrible green screen and other CGI effects, especially during some action scenes where it looks like a Sci-Fi Channel original movie. Like, it's almost on par with Sharknado. That's how shitty the special effects are in this movie, and the design for Steppenwolf in this movie, my god, is that embarrassing. Let's talk about the characterization, because this movie has even worse character development than Suicide Squad. Yeah, I went there. Because, of course, you got like Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman developed already. But then this is our introduction to Aquaman, The Flash, and Cyborg. And you don't really know shit about them. Is that just that, oh, The Flash's dad is in jail for. You don't find. Do you even find out why he's in jail until the Flash movie? Like, I think so. I don't exactly remember because, fuck, this movie just goes in one ear and out the other. But then, there's Cyborg. He, his father just isolates him because he's a fucking cyborg. At least the Snyder Cut really fleshes that out. There's that. And then, you got Aquaman. He just saves people in the water. Don't really know a whole lot about him. It's almost like all of these characters should have had solo movies before this even come out. But of course, at the time, DC was so concerned about catching up to the MCU, they're just trying so hard to compete with them that they forgot about how to, build up to Justice League. Tell these characters stories before getting into this big event. But nope, they threw that out the window. So when you're watching these characters on screen, even though these are characters that are beloved, you don't give a fuck about them and what's going on because they didn't bother to develop them in movie form. As far as I'm concerned, that is some of the laziest fucking planning for any movie franchise I have ever fucking seen. Is there any development for Steppenwolf in this movie? No. All he is just the bad guy trying to get some boxes. They don't really bother fleshing that out too much. All this movie was concerned about was just exposition dumps that are meaningless and a bunch of fucking mindless action sequences. That is it for this movie. It's just exposition dumps and mindless action. That is it for the whole 2 fucking hours. And speaking of the 2 hours, it was so obvious that this movie was meant to be longer, it was fucking pathetic. But of course, Warner Brothers had the bright idea to mandate this movie being 2 hours or less. But because of that, they sacrificed a lot of necessary elements to make this movie, competent when it comes to storytelling. But oh no, we can't have that. And boy, did that backfire on them, because of course this movie got negative reviews and it flopped. It's pretty sad when a Justice League movie flops. One of the most iconic superhero teams of all time. Also, this movie's humor is aggravating as fuck. Okay, so the worst aspect of this movie is what a lot of other people said was the best aspect. I'm sorry, but the Flash was fucking annoying in this movie. I know people complain about the past Flash being annoying as fuck in the Flash movie, but at least there was a purpose there. In this movie, it seemed like, oh, we gotta make Ezra Miller like the DC equivalent of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But let's not have any of the charm. Let's just have him be extremely fucking annoying. All of his humor in this movie was absolute fucking cringe. And also, they make Batman an absolute fucking joke in this movie. It's worse than what they did with Thor in Thor Love and Thunder. I'm going there with this movie. Yeah. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, let's have Batman, because Batman's like the only one in this team that doesn't have any powers. So let's intentionally make him the most incompetent fucking one out of all of them. When it comes to his incompetence, it always ends up in some kind of fucking desperate, subtle fucking slapstick gag. Joss Whedon, I don't know what was going on with you when it come to making this movie. But I know you did good with the first 2 Avengers movies, but you definitely did not do well here. Fuck, did you shit the bed severely with this movie. And then, of course, why would they get Joss Whedon to replace Zack Snyder for this movie? Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder couldn't be any more of an opposite when it comes to their filmmaking styles. Joss Whedon is very lighthearted and quippy, where Zack Snyder is a lot more moody and dark. So when you got those 2 kind of tones clashing together, it becomes a movie that's just fucking tone deaf. It doesn't know if it wants to be dark or it doesn't know if it wants to be funny. That's this movie in a nutshell when it comes to its tone. This movie is so tonally inconsistent, it is not even funny. Is there any more I can say about Justice League other than that it's total fucking garbage? No. Stick with the Snyder Cut. I will be reviewing the Snyder Cut too. So, yeah, I'm just saying this early. Watch the Snyder Cut, not this. The Snyder Cut is actually good. Skip this movie. Don't even bother. It's not worth your time. It is an absolute fucking joke. I am going to give Justice League a D-.